Okay, so we're going to try this with the sound today. Maybe this will work, maybe it won't. We're looking at page 100, number 49. And today our objective is just to show you how to do this with using your graphing calculator so you don't have to do all the calculations by hand anymore. So you can see that I've already got it entered in the calculator. So take a minute, pause this, and go ahead and enter it in your calculator. And then I'm going to show you how to go ahead and do these things on your calculator. So it's just a matter of remembering where the buttons are and what you need to push. So in order to take this lead one and turn the rest of these into zeros, then you need to take this one, multiply -1 times the first row, first element, add 1, and then put it back in row 2. So what we need to do is we need to go to second matrix, need to go over to math, and it's easier for me to scroll down to get to multiply row add, or you can go up and then go all the way down to it. Doesn't really matter which way to me you use to do that. Just make sure you get all the way to add row swap. Okay, so that's what we're going to do then. We're going to enter that. So now the first thing you need to do is you need to take the number that you're multiplying by. So that would be a -1. Hit the comma. Then you need to tell it the matrix that you want to use, which is matrix A. Hit the comma. And then you need to tell it which row you want to multiply in. You want to multiply in row 1. Hit the comma. And then you want to put it back in row 2. So you hit the 2. And that's the end of the information that it needs. And now you need to store that back in your matrix so that it changes your matrix to what you want it to. So what you see now is the matrix has changed. Everything in it is the same, except for this row has now become a 0 for the lead. And now we need to do that with this one and with this one. I'm going to use the same function. So rather than rewriting it, I'm just going to go ahead and edit that. I'm going to take -2. So I'm going to arrow over and replace that with -2. I still want to use matrix A. I still want to use row 1, but now I want to put it in row 3. And then go ahead and it will give you the next row, okay, which is what we've got done there. Then we want to go ahead and we want to do that again. And again, I'm just going to re-hit rather than edit. I'm just going to edit rather than re-hit the numbers. And that'll be a -1 there. Put in matrix A, first column, first row being ×1, and then 4. Enter. And now you've got your matrix where all of these are zeros except for the lead one. Now we need to change it so that this number is a lead 1. Well, didn't have to on that one. It was already done. So now we need to change these 3 into zeros. So again, we're going to do that here. So just going to edit that. Only this time I'm going to use -1 times row 2 and put it back in row 1. And again, my 0 shows up there. I'm going to do that again. It's a 3 that I want to use this time. And now I want to use matrix A. I want to use row 2, but I want to put it back in row 3. And again, there's my next 0 that shows up. And then I want to do that one more time. But instead of using the 3, now I want to use a 2. And I want to put it in row 4. Okay, and so now you see that we have this matrix. So we keep going. The next thing is I want that to be a 1. So I need to do that. And in that case, I need to multiply that times -1/9. That's not the same row operation that I have here. So I'm going to go to second matrix. Going to go to math. And rather than adding a row, I'm just going to multiply the row. And it is a multiplication problem. So I'm going to use that as, instead of dividing by -9, I'm going to use that as multiplying by 1/9. And I am using parentheses because I don't want to estimate that decimal. And so then I want to take that times row 3, but it needs to be in matrix A, and then row 3. And of course we want to store that back in matrix A. Okay. So now we end up with this row. And we need to multiply these by 3, 2, and 3. So here we go with that. So again, that's going to be a multiply add row. So it'll be -3, comma, matrix A, comma, row 3, comma, 1. And we're going to store that in matrix. And so now we've got the 0 showing up here. And basically what you're going to do is you're just going to keep doing those functions. I will go ahead and show you in the calculator that you can swap a row. You can add 2 rows together. You can multiply a single row, or you can multiply a row and add it. And when you get done doing all the operations, you should end up with your matrix just like you always had.